Hello, everybody. What is up?
Tailsthehero.
JTH and Dashy.
Yay.
Hi. Okay, you can put her back.
Put her back.
And now, again, this evening, we are going to be reacting to another fanfiction called If Her Majesty Wishes. We finished up More Than Buddies earlier on. Oh, God, that was so cute.
And we do know for a fact that If Her Majesty Wishes is a clock fiction.
Yes, we have. A lot of people have told us it is a clock fic. So
let's do it.
So here we go.
Hey, what's up,
And once
guys?
again, this is King of Mercs. Thank you, King of Mercs, for posting
reading.
this.
Yeah, thanks, King.
Now, for some of you, I'm pretty sure you noticed, but my first one, I sounded a little dull, maybe. I have a reason for that. I was at, like, I don't know, 3 basketball games at my high school for 4 or 5 hours. And when I came home, it was like 10 or 11 o'clock. I don't really remember. And I ended up making the fanfiction at 12 o'clock, and I was tired, to say the least, so...
A little tired, are we?
Yeah, I won't make the same mistake this time.
Okay.
This fanfiction that I will be reading is by Liquid Rainbows. And the fanfiction is called If Her Majesty Wishes.
And just to give you all a little heads up, this video is 37 minutes,
started.
25 seconds, so this is a long story.
If Her Majesty Wishes by Liquid Rainbows. Attend hut! The line of royal guards stomped their right,
guards.
4 hooves in unison. The Grey Pegasus drill instructor was marching along the row, analyzing each of the new recruits as he passed. At the end of the line was the newest recruit, Sunny Days. He was an awkward, quiet earth-blooded stallion who happened to be the only new member in the most recent recruitment. Because of this, he was isolated from the rest of the group. He hadn't been with his peers since the first day, and so everybody had already grouped off into their own cliques, so to say.
I was actually hoping to read this one. I don't know why. I just felt like reading it for some reason. But I guess I was too damn lazy.
Sunny was more than a little nervous. He felt trapped within his armor, his yellow coat shrouded in metal, his dark brown mane hidden by the helmet. It made him claustrophobic. Don't say that, Sunny, he encouraged himself. You just have to stand up tall and look determined. The drill instructor reached the edge of the line and glared at Sunny. Sunny was average. Not exceptionally strong or tough, but he was acceptable.
Good.
Mostly.
Good.
Sunny felt his nerves getting ragged as the instructor looked him up and down, scowling. It felt like an eternity before the Pegasus finally turned away and began marching down the line again, shouting at the more rowdy recruits. Sunny let out a sigh of relief, happy that he hadn't been selected to be the victim of the instructor's frequent angry tirades. It was better, Sunny felt, not to be noticed, rather than getting negative attention. After a few more minutes, a loud whistle blew, signaling that it was time for dinner break. The sun was lowering in the sky, and the guards were happy to finally be through with training for the day. Sunny kept his head down, not wanting to attract any unwanted attention. He and the others filed into the large mess hall, moving towards the food line. Sunny stayed towards the back of the food line, waiting patiently to get his ration. A few minutes and a tray of food later, Sunny took a seat with 4 other recruits, whose names he could only remember 2 of which. One was Dusty, and the other was Miles. Sunny quietly ate his dinner, mostly listening to the rest of them talk about different things. The conversation eventually drifted to a topic of life back home, their old hobbies, hometowns, and families. Sunny grew uncomfortable as their chatter shifted in the direction of mare friends. Sunny had a mare friend once, a long time ago, but they never got very far in their relationship.
Aww.
I've lived her back home, Dusty recalled, reminiscing on the world he had left behind. She's a sweet lass, that one. Real lively, too. I can't tell you how many times she pounced me when I came home from work in the sawmill. The stallions around the table laughed heartily. Sunny shrank down in his seat, afraid of where the conversation was headed. I've never been one to commit to a long-term relationship, Miles explained, grinning. Me? I prefer to pick up mares at the club and give them one-nighters.
Oh, come
on! Sunny sunk.
Are you serious, bro?
One of the recruits who Sunny didn't know spoke up, a brown Pegasus with droopy eyes. By the night before I left to come here, this fine young girl from next door gave me a very special goodbye to catch my drift. Towels all around.
Oh my god.
As the next stallion spoke, Sunny noticed that the conversation was moving in a circle around the table, and the next in line was Sunny himself.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna agree with
Jinx.
Miles on this one, the
I said
black-coated
over
Earth
here, you
Bunny
said, uh-oh.
exclaimed. I like taking my mares one a week. No one girl is gonna tie me down. Miles nodded in agreement and grinned as the rest of the recruits around the table laughed at the black stallion's vulgarity. Soon, as the laughter died down, Sonny could feel some pony's eyes turning on him.
Oh boy.
How about you, Sonny? A voice said.
Oh, shit.
Sonny looked up from his hooves, which he had been intently focusing on, and saw that all eyes at the table were on him. Oh, me?
Must be a virgin.
Before Sonny could really embarrass himself, the whistle blowed and all the ponies in the mess hall began rising from their tables.
Huh.
After dinner was recreational time, which meant he got to slip away. In his head, Sonny thanked Celestia for this act of mercy. He didn't know how he could possibly have told them that he was a virgin. It was humiliating.
You were right.
Never got far in their relationship, and meant that the two had never had sex. Sonny did find it hard sometimes, still fantasizing constantly about what it might feel like.
Oh.
While most stallions his age had already been laid, and thus didn't feel the need to lust after every mare they saw, Sonny was an exception. Sonny knew what sex looked like, mostly from magazines he had snuck into the house. But he knew that experiencing
wow.
it was an entirely different story. It also made him feel weak and insecure that all the others had been able to hook up while he had not. It made him nervous around females, particularly around the attractive variety. Wow.
Poor
His
guy.
hormones were begging him to find a mate, but Sonny had neither the courage nor the self-confidence to pull it off.
Oh, poor guy.
As the sun began setting in the west, many guards
Poor
in
kid.
training left to the recreational hall to play games or just hang out. Sonny only opened himself up around people he knew, and thus had a small group of friends back home. But in this alien place, he couldn't bring himself to enter the hall
He's the only
with
guy
the
from
others.
his.
Instead, Sonny
The only
crept
stallion from where
away
he lived
towards the
that's a
barracks,
royal guard.
as he always did. He'd only
That's
been there
one
about
perk.
3 weeks, but he hadn't yet spent his recreation time with anyone else but himself. The entire military training complex was located on a patch of land beside the Royal Canterlot Palace, and Sonny enjoyed
Guy, this is
catching
gonna
views
go in
of
the
the
direction I
splendid
think it is. I'm
place
gonna be
on his
so
way to
jelly
there.
of Sunny.
He idly wondered what
Hey, that rhymed.
Celestia, whom he had given
frickin'
oath to
rhymed.
protect, was doing at the moment. Despite himself, Sonny relished his time
I know
alone
it
in
sounds
the
a
barracks,
little
undisturbed
hoppish
and
right now.
unconcerned that he
Really, it's gonna
might
take
be
a sudden swerve soon.
interrupted. Sonny found his bunk in the room on the end. He shared this room with 3 other recruits, but none of them were here at the moment. Sonny snaked his way into the bottom bunk on the left, lying on his back and soaking in the silence. He usually uses this time to think or read, but today was one of the days that he wanted to take care of business. Oh. Painting the image of a sultry mare on his mind, Sonny used his hoof to relieve himself of the stresses he felt.
Yeah.
Despite how good it was, Sonny had a deep-rooted
everyone knows
sadness
what's
that no
happening.
real
There's
Yeah.
no need
had
to
been
explain.
Yeah.
and he always felt forced to resort to his hoof for stimulation. Sonny used one of his washcloths to climax into quickly washing it clean in the sinks afterwards. As Sonny flopped back onto his bed and drifted into sleep, he thought to himself, one day.
Think positive,
Everything
kid.
was
That's
quickly
the key.
brought into focus as the morning whistle was
So
blown.
that's what he
It
just
was
did.
Sonny's least favorite time of day, the beginning. The other recruits jacked themselves from the bed and let their hooves carry them to the washrooms, bleary-eyed. Sonny was particularly tired this morning, and rather than rising from bed, he decided to rest for another 5 minutes.
Oh, he's sleeping in.
I've got 15 minutes until the second whistle. he
It
thought
might not
to
be a very
himself,
good idea, especially
resting
when
his
you're a
eyes.
royal guard.
What's the harm?
Yeah, boy.
Everything around Sonny grew dark and quiet. Most recruits were donning their armor and leaving the barracks now. Sonny enjoyed the brief moment to himself, unwary of the possibility that sleep would find him again. And alas, it did. As Sonny lay on the bed, sleep crept up slowly and knifed him in the back. All was darkness for a
Good
time.
way to say it, I guess.
I
Light
guess.
returned when another loud whistle blew, waking Sonny from his slumber. His eyes grew wide and he leaped from his bed, frantically trying to clasp his armor on. It was then that Sonny felt a warmth in his groin. Damn! Sonny remembered what he had been dreaming of. He did his best to ignore the hardness down below,
Oh boy.
and not to think about what he had been fantasizing in his slumber. To Sonny's shock, the sun was brighter and was higher in the sky than he expected. No, no, no! He hadn't just missed the second morning whistle. He had missed breakfast and the first hour of training. Galloping as fast as his legs could carry him, Sonny ignored his growing nervousness and rushed out of the barracks door towards the training field. Sonny found that the recruits were lined up again, and not for the first time, thanked Celestia for the mercy. Sonny swiftly and silently took his stance at the end of the road. The morning sun was bright in the sky, and Sonny's panting slowly died down. The recruit next to him leaned over and whistled. You, my friend, are one lucky bastard. Sonny did his best to stand up tall and look like everything was in order. He couldn't help but shift uncomfortably from the boner that was only now going away. The image of the mare, head between his legs, looking into his eyes, was still fresh in his mind. All thoughts, though, were dispelled as the drill instructor reached the end of the road, staring Sonny down.
Okay.
Recruit, I don't recall seeing you this morning. Care to explain?
Oh, God.
Derp.
Here we
Sonny
go.
instantly stared, sweating nervously. Well, sir, I do believe I was here. The instructor frowned, leaning close towards Sonny's face. He held his scowl for a full minute before suddenly chuckling. Well, I'm not surprised, the instructor explained. It seems like a weak, useless, stuttering maggot like you would be easy not to notice. Sonny cringed backwards. The drill instructor stared at him.
It's the military. You get that. My grandfather got
destroyed
back down when he was in the Navy.
The other end of the line.
He even thought about quitting once, but he couldn't.
Sigh in relief. Instead, standing as still as possible.
Don't ever join the military.
After about 10 more minutes of standing and being berated by the instructor,
fucking little maggot, you'd be punching the guy in the face, and then you'd be getting going on a court martial.
The running track. Once they all reached the large oval track, they were ordered to stand side by side at the starting line. Sonny had always been an average at the track, and wasn't too concerned that something horrible would happen. The instructor blew the whistle, and the guards began galloping forward. Sonny actually enjoyed the feeling of running. Back home, he had always galloped when he had time to spare, letting the wind flow through his lungs and jostle his mane. Of course, with the helmet on, there would be no mane jostling here. Nonetheless, Sonny ran happily along the field, about halfway between the fastest runner and the slowest. Sonny, in a random burst of energy, decided to pick up his pace, pushing forward as fast as he could, despite the burning in his legs and lungs. Sonny managed to bring himself into third place, galloping alongside the second place runner.
Okay.
The instructor always said it wasn't a race, but that was a lie, and every pony knew it. The guard beside Sonny was a tough runner. He was one of the rowdy recruits, always getting yelled at. But, of course, he had formed his own little gang amongst the trainees, as all jerks seemed to. He was a dark gray and with darker blue eyes, and seemed concerned that Sonny had the potential to pass him. Sonny continued pushing forward, determined to beat the gray recruit. He was sick and tired of being put down by the others, and wanted to at least say he was good at running, if nothing else. The gray recruit smiled at Sonny wickedly. Sonny didn't have time to wonder what was going on
switching the pillow.
Just wanted to.
When the gray recruit stuck out his right foreleg, tripping Sonny as he tried to pass. Sonny flipped frontwards.
Oh, that's cheap. That's cheap. That is cheap. Oh, okay.
Circling his head.
That happened to me once.
It's alright for me to do that to that guy who did that.
It's
fine, yeah, but that is cheap.
Oh, you fucking bastard.
That happened to me once. Some jerk tripped me in the middle of a race and I lost. I'm not a fast guy. I'm a big guy, but I had energy that day. That's what 10 cups of coffee will do for you.
Walked by him haughtily, a cocky smile on his face. Sonny could only catch his breath.
You busted, yeah.
Dejected. The angry looking on the why am I messing up?
There.
The angry looking drill instructor marched up and grabbed Sonny, dragging him away from the others. When the two were out of the hearing distance of all the other recruits, the instructor spun Sonny around and faced him. What the hell was that? He hissed, trying to keep his voice down. Sonny's face flushed with shame. I mean, it was just... Shut up! the instructor yelled, quickly glancing around and lowering his voice again. And don't think I don't know about what happened this morning. I know that you weren't here earlier today, and don't you dare tell me otherwise, or I swear I will tear out the drill instructor stopped and took a few deep breaths. You just sit right here, recruit, the instructor said before trotting away peevishly. Sonny sat on his haunches and stared at the ground, horribly mortified. The other recruits were taken by the instructor to another section of training, and Sonny merely waited in silence. The minutes passed by quickly, Sonny watching the clouds move overhead. It would have been a pleasant day, if not for the recent events. Finally, after what must have been an hour, the drill instructor returned alone, trotting over the field. He stopped, glaring down at Sonny.
Oh boy.
You have orders to go to the Canterlot Palace throne room immediately. I hope you're not too stupid that you don't know where that is.
Shut the fuck
Princess
up.
Celestia wants to have a word with you. The instructor turned without a second glance, walking away up the bed.
The princess wants to see
Sonny
him.
mechanically rose and began trotting towards the palace, but his mind was determined. The princess? What does she want? What is she going to do? As he trotted,
That's just a
sweating
prediction,
nervously, Sonny
of course.
recalled that a recruit had been sent to see the princess once before, a week ago. It was after he had gotten into a fight and almost killed another guard.
Really?
Sonny never found out what happened to him, but he didn't return to the training grounds. Was Celestia going to personally fire him?
Uh-oh.
What would happen? What would he tell his parents if that happened? He surely wouldn't be able to return home.
I got fired.
Sonny tried trotting as slowly as possible,
Philly sitter.
unbearably afraid of what was going to happen.
Or a cold sitter.
He had seen the princess many times before, but had never actually talked to her
What would you call
close.
it, baby pony?
What could be more nerve-wracking than talking to a living goddess?
Yeah,
I personally would freak out.
Yeah, me too, probably.
He just, he heard of
like,
another
hi,
guard
Tailsthehero.
almost killing another guard, going to the princess and never returning. I would be kind of freaked out.
Yeah.
Yet amazed.
Yeah.
And so, despite his best efforts to postpone the confrontation, Sonny found himself standing in the throne room of the Canterlot Palace.
Oh boy.
All around him were many embroidered banners, mosaic windows, paintings, and other decorations. But Sonny couldn't help but look at one thing: Princess Celestia.
Yay.
In all his life, Sonny had never seen such
There's
a
no way she
beautiful
would kill him.
creature.
She's too kind-hearted.
She had an elegant, voluptuous
Well,
body,
she is the tyrant.
a
So
lovely flowing mane, and a pristine coat. Not to mention that her eyes were simply gorgeous.
yeah, buddy.
The black eyeliner against her white coat was stunning, and her kind smile made him feel welcome, even in this uncomfortable situation.
I haven't seen her
It
too
made him
often in the
nervous and
episodes, have
ashamed
you?
to be
She hasn't
viewing
been in
his
any
princess
of the
way,
newer
and
episodes.
he did his best not to stare. He wasn't very good, and he found himself blushing slightly. Sonny stepped forward and bowed his head.
I don't think there's any crime in that.
Sunny days? The princess said, causing Sonny to look up. I hear that you've been having some troubles in your training. Celestia's voice was motherly, sounding authoritative, yet kind and gentle. Sonny was at a loss for words. Yes, your highness, the princess chuckled at Sonny's nervousness. A sweet laugh that made Sonny's legs feel droopy. Please, you can call me Celestia. Now, Sonny, I heard what happened this morning. You were sleeping in, correct? Sonny nodded, his head in shame.
Poor guy.
You've been here for 3 weeks now, the princess began. By now, your natural alarm clock has been set. There must be more to it than simply falling asleep. In a way, Sonny knew there was.
Well,
this is going in the direction that it's going to go. I'm gonna be jelly.
Sonny was blushing.
I'm not gonna rat the guy out. I know what he was doing. I'm not gonna rat him out though.
Face
Me either.
red. He shrank back a little, as if trying to hide himself behind the air. Celestia observed him, trying to discern the situation. Being alive as long as she had, Celestia didn't have much trouble reading the look on Sonny's face. Sonny, did you happen to have a particular sort of dream? Celestia was raising.
How would she know that?
How sick is it that you actually know that?
How would she know that? That's not. That's not even.
Smiled. knowing where this was
Why am I
going.
talking like this?
Well, I think you should come with me.
Because you're Russian, good sir.
I am Russian.
Just like I am English.
Stepped down from the throne,
So let's
beckoning
shut up.
Sunny to follow her. Celestia was
Cup of
larger
tea?
than a normal pony, and Sunny was a little
Maybe
intimidated by her
a
imposing
shot of
figure.
vodka, but no, not tea.
Nonetheless, he followed behind her meekly, stealing quick looks. No matter how many times Sunny glanced at the princess, she was always just as amazing. Everything about her was perfect. Sunny accidentally let his eyes wander onto Celestia's curvaceous backside, and he quickly looked away. He was instantly ashamed of himself, but he could already feel
Why? It's natural.
hotness.
Well, it is
Oh boy.
the princess.
This is going somewhere.
You think?
You think?
Come on, bro.
This is going somewhere. The
Thanks for the
princess
tip.
led Sunny up a large, spacious spiral staircase, passing by multiple
Okay.
windows that looked out over Equestria.
Beautiful
As they reached the
scenery.
top of the spire, Sunny was shocked to see what the princess had taken them to.
There.
Shocked to see that the princess had taken them to her personal quarters.
Oh.
Opening
Oh
the
boy.
Here we go.
door,
Something gonna
the
happen.
two of
It's
them
gonna
entered
go
Sunny's
wild
spot
from
at the
here.
bedroom. A large red master bed with drapes set at the wall.
It's
on
gonna
the
go
other end of the
wild
room
from
facing
here.
forward. The room was large. with
That would be
shelves
one way of
books,
putting it.
A fireplace to the right, a balcony to the left, with its doors shut and white drapes closed around it. Fine, heavy rugs rested on the floor, and decorative work of art hung along the walls. Celestia locked the door behind. Wow. Okay. Okay. So she's locking the door
behind them.
Perfect.
Hint, hint.
We've got
Celestia locked the door
power.
behind them
Ah!
and trotted to the center of the room,
Doctor
taking
Who.
a seat on one of the soft rugs. Celestia beckoned Sunny over with one of her wings. Sunny was sweating lightly, again extremely
Jinx, we
nervous.
both did this at the same
Oh,
time.
what
Why
the-
had she brought him here
Jinx.
alone?
Shut
Why
up.
had she locked the door? Oh.
Oh.
Nonetheless, Sunny obeyed Celestia and took a
Isn't
seat
it
on the floor.
obvious?
She smiled at him.
Wink!
Her heart melted. He would have done anything for her in that moment. Oh,
Oh.
Sunny, she chuckled. You're like an open book. Sunny was surprised at this. What do you mean, princess? He asked. She gazed into his eyes, and Sunny immediately became transfixed. It's all right, Sunny. You don't have to be ashamed. I know about your problem. She smiled and whispered the last part. I know what you are. Okay.
How?
Sunny didn't need her to explain what that
Like,
meant. Slowly,
Shush.
the implications of what was going on flooded into Sunny's mind, hitting him like a train. He reeled back and noticed the seductive look on Celestia's face.
Oh.
Mild erection grew into a raging boner in 10 seconds flat.
I get it.
so wrong.
Inward,
That was
pressing
funny.
her lips to his before he could get a word out.
Oh god, I am gonna be so jelly.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna get so jelly of this kid.
Princess. I mean, lucky bastard.
Thank you! That's my thoughts exactly, King of Mercs. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much.
Lucky
His mind
Yes.
hardly had time to think when he suddenly tasted something wet. The sweet taste of Celestia's tongue exploring the inner wall.
Oh,
gosh.
nothing
Sunny was
nothing
ready
super
but he didn't have the
super
capacity
hot
to
has happened and
test
I'm already jelly.
as Celestia licked along the inside of his mouth, sucking his tongue and making his
Princess,
member
man.
throb. Instead, he moaned at the wonderful feeling. Celestia gently pushed Sunny back, just hard enough for him to fall onto his back. Using her magic, the princess unclasped his armor and levitated it, along with the helmet off to the side. Celestia blushed and giggled as Sunny's boner spread at full length. Sunny was sweating.
Never thought I'd actually
stunned
see
by
the princess
surrealism of
blush.
the situation. Celestia, the ruler of Equestria, hooking up with him? Some poor virgin. Sunny.
Poor virgin, no way.
No, not anymore, bro.
Like,
Not any freaking more.
No.
Celestia had a lover in over 1,000 years.
Aw.
Resorted to having sex with a guard every decade or so to relieve herself. She loved the meek, quiet ones. She cherished the looks on their faces when she let them inside of her. Sunny was the perfect example.
Oh.
Sunny was free from
Please sign me up.
brown mane, now no longer confined
Be shy
to his helmet.
and meager.
His heart
Yes.
no longer
I'd be that way no
pressed
matter
by
what.
trauma. He was quivering from excitement and from uneasiness. He had no idea what Celestia would do next. The princess moved over on top of him, looking down into his eyes. She bent down and began kissing him on the lips, moving down to his chest, then his stomach. The princess stepped back and sat down, moving her kisses even lower. Princess! Wait, ah! Sonny gasped as Celestia placed a kiss on the tip of his length. Sonny felt a wave of heat and pressure as her moist lips touched against the head of his rod. It felt more amazing than he had ever imagined, even more so because of the beautiful mare doing it. Celestia pulled back and laughed charmingly, licking her lips. I'm surprised no one has done this to you before. You're delicious.
Oh!
Sonny's whole body turned red, and Celestia giggled.
Dear Celestia.
He let out another gasp as Celestia began licking circles around the tip of his member. It was driving him mad. He had to stop himself from bucking upward and pressing it deeper.
Oh.
But just before the urge to do so became too unbearable, Celestia pressed the whole head into her mouth, slowly moving downwards until Sonny's entire length was down her throat, all the way to the base.
Oh.
Sonny was shocked as he felt the warmthness of her throat around him. Celestia's tongue licked the shaft as it rested in her mouth. She let his cock rest inside of her for a moment, before bringing her head back up again gracefully, not gagging in the slightest. Celestia winked at him and smiled. Years of practice. Sonny believed it. Celestia began licking up and down his shaft, sucking the head every so often, or deep-throating the entire thing. Sonny could feel the warmth and wetness of his member.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that.
Every movement Celestia's mouth made was another wave of ecstasy. The princess began taking the entire length in her mouth, bobbing her head up and down swiftly.
Oh, please, let me live vicariously through you.
Sonny moaned loudly and bucked his hips.
God damn it.
With her head, practically drooling bliss. Sonny's eyes became glazed, but he couldn't take them off Celestia's face. She stared down.
Sorry if I look stupid holding that pillow in front of my face.
She stared up at him, seeming to gaze into his soul. The princess kept sucking harder and faster, enjoying his taste in her mouth. Sonny couldn't believe how good this blowjob felt. Finally, she slowed to a halt, removing her mouth from his length and gently sucking Sonny's balls, making him squeak in surprise. Celestia wiped her mouth clean with a hoof and looked up, smiling. You were great, Celestia purred seductively. But that was just a warm-up.
Oh!
Celestia crept up his
This
body,
is gonna be
kissing
hot.
him on the mouth before positioning herself above him. Sonny laid there, his legs spread and his forelegs to his side. Celestia had a forehoof on either side of him, and she slowly brought her pussy down to meet his Sonny inhaled sharply and gasped as her wetness made contact with his shaft. Celestia smiled and moaned quietly, savoring the blissful expression on Sonny's face. Slowly, the princess began rubbing her womanhood along his shaft, up and down, soaking it in her juices. The pleasurable feeling of his thick cock pressing against her only made Celestia more wet. As the two rubbed against each other, Celestia started picking up the pace, pressing into him harder. Sonny's breathing turned into panting as wave after wave of euphoria surged through him.
What the fuck does that
The
word
princess
mean
began
anyway?
slowing down, still pressing
Euphoria.
into him, soaking up the feelings.
If anyone
As
knows,
she reached
please
a
tell
halt,
me.
Celestia lifted herself upward, placing Sonny's tip against her lips. Slowly, she let herself slide downwards, Sonny's rod impaling itself inside of her, breaking his virginity.
Damn it!
Oh, god damn it! God, let me be Sonny right now. Oh.
Sonny had never felt a more
You
pleasurable
lucky
sensation.
son of a bitch.
The way Celestia clenched herself around his member,
Right.
the way the slick juices coated him, the way the tight walls of the princess's pussy sent nauseating rushes of heat and rapture through him. Every nerve ending in his body was tingling. Celestia began to bounce faster, her hips smacking into Sonny with each downward slam. She was moaning louder now, feeling his rod press against
God, I am so jelly.
stimulating them with swift movements. Celestia clenched her teeth, tightening a grip on his member, as if to squeeze all the pleasure she could from him. The tightening made Sunny gasp, her womanhood pressing more barrages of pleasure into him. Sunny was pumping his hips upward with each smack, adding to the powerful beat of Celestia's movements. Celestia almost became lost in the passion, but came to her senses and slowed down the pace. She was sweating, red-cheeked, but there was one more thing she wanted to do. Coming slowly to a stop, the princess and Sunny caught their breath together.
Alright.
Both were drooling slightly, sweating, red-faced, and glazed. Sunny's eyes had rolled back, but he brought them back into focus.
Okay, good.
He was again astonished by the sexiness of Celestia's body, now wet and huffing. Her appearance only added to Sunny's arousal. Now, Sunny, you have to learn to be more self-confident. I happen to know just how to do that.
Oh boy.
Celestia pulled off of Sunny with a squishing noise. Her slit was soaked in wetness. Turning around, Celestia leaned forward, backing in the air, presenting herself to Sunny. Sunny's mouth hung open as he stared in disbelief. Celestia put on her best meek voice, saying, "Sunny, I want you inside me."
Oh, now I'm jelly. Now I'm 100% jelly.
Suddenly rose and bolted over to Celestia. The princess was taller than he was, but Sunny managed to position himself behind her, pressing the head of his cock into her dripping pussy. Sunny began inching his way inside of her. He had never been in a position of dominance. Not in his hometown, not as a guard, not ever. Now, at this moment, he did. Sunny finally pushed his full length inside, making Celestia moan. Sunny was panting, enjoying every second as he rammed his hard shaft into Celestia's body. The princess let her front half rest on the floor, taking his length and savoring every moment. From this position, Sunny's cock pressed deeper than ever, caressing her insides as the two passionately moaned together. Celestia pushed her hips back with each forward thrust that Sunny made, pressing his member into her even harder. She could feel wetness seeping from her pussy, and drool dripping from her mouth. "Princess, I'm getting close," Sunny groaned as his rod slammed into her. "Sunny, I can't believe you're finishing inside me. Maybe you should try another place."
Oh!
He turned and gazed at her.
Oh my gosh.
Sunny pulled his length from her dripping pussy, placing the head against her tight ass. Are you sure about this?" Sunny asked nervously. Celestia winked at him. "Oh, I'm sure." Sunny nodded, pressed forward slowly, amazed at the tightness of her ass. He could feel his cock being squeezed, and it made him wild. Celestia inhaled sharply, momentarily feeling pricks of pain, but soon was moaning as Sunny's cock reached deep within her, titillating her insides. They soon
now he's got
into,
something to tell everybody at the
rhythm
lunch
as
table.
Sunny
Yeah.
thrusted in her, feeling her
Only
ass
problem is they
under
probably
his
won't believe him.
bra. Celestia began pressing back with each pump again, feeling his large member completely fill up the inside of her ass. Sunny had his forehooves placed on either side of the princess's plot, holding on to her leverage as he thrusted. Within each movement, Sunny's balls would slap against Celestia's pussy, adding to the euphoric pleasure she was experiencing. The two of them slowly began reaching their climax. Both Sunny and the princess could feel the rising sensation of a coming orgasm. In unison, the two of them screamed out, coming in perfect sync.
Really?
Celestia's eyes rolled back as she felt fluids burst forth from her womanhood. Sunny slammed forward again and again, his hips bucking violently. Stream after stream of thick cum shooting from his member into the princess's ass.
Why would you?
As his orgasm proceeded, Sunny stumbled backwards, shooting his last strands of seed onto Celestia's flank. He fell to his back, panting in exhaustion. The princess was still dripping wet as she wobbled over to Sunny, falling over to rest at his side. As the two recovered in a serene silence, Celestia moved her head to rest on his shoulder, wrapping her forelegs around him. "Problem solved?" she asked, smiling and raised her brow.
Lucky
Sunny blushed.
mother.
Problem
Bucker.
solved.
Yes.
Now, that was pretty intense.
Yeah.
Is that it? No.
At least he's not a virgin anymore, so he doesn't have to be weak and insecure about himself.
You know it.
The next morning, to the surprise of the other recruits, Sonny was there, in his bunk, when everyone woke. Many trainees asked him where he had been, but Sonny chose not to answer them. Breakfast passed quietly as in the first hour of training, but things got interesting during the morning race. Sonny was lined up at the start with the others when the whistle blew, and like a bullet, he shot out ahead into second place. He felt strong. He felt confident. He felt good. Running free like this only brought his adrenaline up higher. The gray recruit from before, who had tripped Sonny in the last race, was in first place, frowning. Sonny ran alongside of him now, looking straight ahead, a smile on his face. The gray recruit scowled. "Didn't you learn your lesson from before?" he shouted. Sonny ignored him completely. The gray recruit yelled and stuck out his right foreleg to trip him. Sonny reacted swiftly, stepping to the right. The gray recruit stumbled to the side, tripping over and falling flat on his stomach.
Yeah,
the rest of the crowd stampeded by him. Sonny ran faster and faster, winning first place by a long shot.
Yay!
He reached the end, huffing. Sonny was approached by the drill instructor, who was scowling. "Recruit!" he growled, frowning. "Decent work." The instructor never smiled once, but Sonny was happy. The rest of the recruits soon caught up, congratulating Sonny on his victory. The gray recruit stayed far away from him, moping. The day passed on as normal, all the way.
You got pwned by a rookie.
Sonny sat with the same crowd again, Dusty, Miles, and the other two he still didn't know. Sonny took part in the conversation for once, feeling lively and social. The other recruits were happy to have. Dinner led into recreation time, and the five of them sat together at a table, continuing to tell stories and chat. The topic soon drifted again to Mary's back home. Brown Pegasus with droopy eyes turned to Sonny. "Hey, Sonny, y'all never did tell us about the last mayor you've been with." For the first time in the past few days, all the attention around the table was focused on Sonny, who merely leaned back in his chair and chuckled. "Oh, you want to hear that story?" he asked, looking around the table. "Trust me, you guys, you aren't gonna believe this one." The end.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Good for him.
I'm not gonna lie, that was intense.
Good for him.
Woo!
Good for him.
I need to live vicariously through that guy. I do.
Yep. No one is gonna believe him when he says, "Oh, I fucked the princess."
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Whatever, bro. Seriously, you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding.
I'm being 100% serious, bro.
You can't be serious. Lucky, but I love Luna, but damn, that's awesome.
I know.
Good for him, you know.
Yeah.
Good fan fiction too. Interesting, you know.
Yes. Well done, Liquid Rainbows.
Yes, and again, Kingdom Works. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for reading this, and we will see you soon. Thank you, and see you soon.
Subscribe.
Thank you, and see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.